Yeah, baby. That's right. We're back in the building, y'all. What's going on? What's up, people? It's your boy Viper, the man about tech, and the lounge is open for business tonight, baby. Oh, yeah. So before I get started, let me go get the background music in the building here. See what we got. There it is. Let me turn it down to a level that is acceptable to the lounge. All right, I think we're good to go. What is going on? Happy Wednesday to you all. Appreciate y'all stopping by. I know y'all could be doing anything else with your Wednesday evening, but you're hanging with your boy Viper, and I appreciate that. So thank you. I think we got a Joey out there. What's up, Joey? How you doing? Got a cool gamer in the building. What's up, man? How you doing? Arvin Wallace, what's up, man? How you doing, bro? How you doing? Appreciate you being here, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hopefully you all are doing well. So yeah, we got Jeff Hell in the building. What's up, Jeff? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Bruce Lee, what's up, man? Channel member Bruce Lee, appreciate you, bro. Thank you for that. Mr. Brian R, man, how you doing, bro? How you doing? What is going on, people? What is going on? I appreciate all of y'all being here, man. Tonight, tonight we might hurt some feelings, but it's all good because you know me and you know how I rock and roll out here. I'm all about the real talk. So some creators out there need some real talk, and tonight we're gonna have some real talk up here. Oh, yeah, my head of security, El Jefe Reviews is here. What's up, Jeff? How you doing, man? Good to see you, dude. Hopefully you're doing well. But yeah, my dude Roberto Blake should be here any minute, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I wanted to talk about creators and YouTube tonight, basically, and the responsibility that creators have when they choose to start a YouTube channel. And really, in actuality, every creator is different. Every YouTube channel is different, and we all have different goals, objectives, things that we want to do, things that we want to get out of having our YouTube channel. And depending on what those goals and aspirations are, there are certain responsibilities that we as creators have to take on, whether we want to or not. And that is really why I call Roberto here today, because we had a very, very live conversation in Coffee Talk yesterday morning about this. And I just wanted to go into it a little bit further, just so we all understand what is being expected of us when we go on this path, on this journey to have a YouTube channel. I see 504 out there. What's up, man? How you doing? Appreciate you being here. What's up, Neil? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. And Tech for your needs and here as well. What's up, man? How you doing, bro? How you doing? How you doing? Bruce says today is not a good day, but a great day. I'm glad you're having a great day, man. I am glad that you are having a great day. Oh, technically T is here. What's up, bro? How you doing? Good to see you. But yeah, I feel like creators need to understand what they're getting themselves into when they start a YouTube channel. There's a lot to it, and when you're first starting out on YouTube, you might not be aware of all the responsibility that goes into creating, and not only creating, but maintaining a channel. It's easy to create a YouTube channel. Hell, anybody can do that. But maintaining it and growing it to something substantial, that takes a lot of work. But before I get into all that, Ted, what's up, man? How you doing? And we got my guest of honor here tonight. So let me bring in the man who has done this for a long time himself, the Emperor, the creative entrepreneurial badass himself, Mr. Roberto Blake. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's up? I'm going to give myself an applause here.
Self-applause. The judges will allow it. The judges will allow it. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing all right, man. It's like I probably need to get a workout in today anyway. But
bruh. Man, Roberto, we might hurt some feelings tonight, but it's all right, man. It's all right.
Yeah, you know what? Do you have like the link out on your Twitter for me to like retweet it and let people know that I'm on?
Yeah, I posted a promo tweet earlier. I can
I'm gonna quote tweet right now.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely out there, and you are tagged in it. So yeah, feel free to do that. But
right now with the one and only Viper.
Yes, appreciate you doing that, man. Thank you.
On the live.
Thank you. Wow. Ace Rock Tech, I see you out there, my dude. How you doing, man? What's happening? What's happening? Appreciate you being here. Thank you.
And I promise to only hurt some of y'all's feelings.
I love it. I love it.
There we go. Savage tweet. There we go.
Only some.
Savage tweet.
Got to keep it real. Got to keep it
Right
real.
on.
All right. We did.
Oh, you got to keep it 100. You got to keep it 100.
Got to. All right, where did he go out? 'Cause I'm not seeing anything. Hold on. Where's this?
Oh, coffee talk after dark. Yeah, no, I'm feeling it. How's my audio coming through?
Are you using a microphone, or does it sound like you're using a headset?
Wait, let me double check and see what this has going on.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm using a microphone.
Okay. All right. There's the quote tweet. Cool. All right.
You know what's the problem?
What's that?
StreamYard had the automatic adjust volume. You know that doesn't work.
Yeah.
What about now? Now is it better, right?
Sounds the same almost.
Really? Well, is it good?
Oh yeah, fine. I mean, it's passable, absolutely.
Well, I turned off the compressor for the Rodecaster because I felt like the compressor was distorting my voice.
Oh, okay. But yeah, we can coffee talk after dark, Renee, for sure.
Coffee talk after dark.
So, what I was saying just before you got here is that when creators start a YouTube channel, Roberto, there's a lot of responsibility that they may or may not be aware of when they start their channel. And if you want to maintain it and grow it to something scalable, you definitely have to assume a lot of responsibility. Now, the origin of this conversation came from Coffee Talk yesterday morning. We were talking about the new video that Colin and Samir uploaded about why Emma Chamberlain took a break from YouTube. And in the video, Colin and Samir had they were talking about how she took a break, and they were talking about how YouTube should include more tools that make it easier for creators to step away and I guess not be affected. Although, as I said yesterday, I don't know what implementing the tool would do. I mean, would it be nice? Yes, but implementing the tool is not going to change the outcome of what's going to happen if you step away from your YouTube channel. People are going to not watch. Actually, I would almost argue that if there was like some type of badge next to your icon or picture that says that you're taking a break, you're probably going to lose subscribers almost immediately when you put something like that up.
I don't know about that, but
I especially if you do. Now, it's one thing if the people know how long you're going to be gone, but if you just have that badge up there and they don't know when you're going to be back, I don't know. I think that might cause a problem. But here's the thing. My argument yesterday in Coffee Talk is that it is not YouTube's responsibility to do all these different things for you or dictate how you run your YouTube channel. When you have a channel, you are an independent contractor, which means you are basically a small business owner or however, maybe a large business owner, however large your channel is. But YouTube is not your employer. They're not your boss. They have no obligation to help you manage and navigate the platform. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that it's not like YouTube charges money for us to be on the platform. Now, I know what some of y'all gonna say. Well, Viper, you can't say that because they take a 45% cut of ad revenue, blah, 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 blah. And they do. That's true.
They do the heavy lifting. Here's the truth. YouTube does most of the work. Most of us don't cover the cost of hosting our content. Bruh. YouTube hosts our content, and we barely cover the cost.
Bruh. I mean, bruh. All of that stuff. I mean,
and then what do they like? What these people aren't out here. A lot of these people who say that they ain't out here going after brand deals. So what do they think? Like with the ad revenue, it's like, were you going out there and you're gonna get the advertisers to sign up to the platform? You're gonna build the Google AdSense thing. There's only like 8 advertising platforms patented in the entire world in terms of patents. So what, you're going to build an ad platform without violating somebody's patent? You're going to build that infrastructure. You're going to build all the cloud servers. You're going to hire the engineers. You're going to come out of pocket and everything like that. What do you think it costs? Like, that's why everyone's like, oh, creators need to build their own platform to rival YouTube and then make it this paradise for creators. And it's like, yeah, if they all want to be poor, they want to be poor. I've been around. There have been like 20 YouTube competitors. Where are they now? Right. They all suck. They're all trash. Right. They're all gone. It's like, what happened to VidMe? Oh, right. What happened to Vessel? You know, like people even tried to not even make a creator platform, but tried to make like a mainstream video platform called Quibi. They threw billions of dollars at that, wasted investors' money. What happened to that? Right? It's like, even when people make an honest try and they try to do a creator for creator by creator platform to do like Storyfire. Like, I mean, sheesh, man. Like it's like, let's be real. YouTube's the best game in town.
Literally. And here's the other thing. Even that they take like a 45% cut, your income potential is limitless with YouTube. Not to mention the fact that you can make money outside of the platform, because the cut we're talking about is only the cut that YouTube in themselves take for you being on the platform. But just by having a YouTube channel, you have so many more ways to make money that you can use your channel as a vehicle for to establish that YouTube can't touch because it's not on the platform. But again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It is not YouTube's responsibility to dictate how you run your business. You used to say something a lot that comes into play here. I've heard you say many a times that creators, when they start a YouTube channel, they wind up becoming accidental entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And I love that, because the key word in that whole statement is entrepreneur. When you start a channel and you build it to a business and you start making money from your YouTube channel, you are in essence an entrepreneur, which means you work for yourself. You don't have any boss. You don't have anybody dictating how you run your channel. You can work as hard or as much or as little as you want. And every decision, everything that happens to that YouTube channel is a direct result of your action. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can dictate what happens with you and your channel but you. I don't know how to cover.
What is it people want to be protected from? What is it people want YouTube and social media to protect them from?
So apparently the argument yesterday was that the regular 9-to-5 make us work so hard, and we don't have enough time to live in different things like that. But again, when you are an independent creator and an entrepreneur on YouTube, you can work as hard or as not hard as you want. Now, the other thing that came up was that there's this argument, or there's this, I won't say an argument, but there's a sentiment that you cannot take a break from YouTube. And I think that's where you came in later on in the room. There's a sentiment out there that you can't.
You can take a break. You can, but you have to live with the damn consequences.
Oh my Lord! Oh, can you repeat that for the people in the back, Roberto?
You can take a break, but it's like, what, you think you should be immune from the consequences?
Oh my Lord! And now that's my whole point. There's an argument that
I can take Viper. You know what? There was a point where I stopped working out. You know what the consequences were? I gained like 10, 15 pounds during the pandemic that I don't like.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, you know what? Those consequences of? Those are the consequences of my bad habits. Those are the consequences of me not working out, not going for as many walks, letting COVID get in my head, not eating comfort food to get through being depressed and everything like that. I had to reap the consequences of my actions, and those consequences were 15 pounds I don't like. That's how it is. There ain't nobody to blame for that but me. There ain't nobody to blame for that for me.
Oh my God.
By the way, even with YouTube, I took off, dude. In 2020, I made half the content I made in 2019. Now, granted, my money didn't suffer as much for it, but you know what suffered? My earning potential did, because if I made half the content, but I made like more money, then that means, oh my God, if I had been consistent and made the same amount of content as in 2019, even though I was going through shit in 2020, you know what would have happened? I could have made double the money. It's like, and then 2021, it's like, oh wow, I made half the content I made even from 2020, which means I made a fourth of the content I made in 2019 in 2021, and I made more money, which means, oh crap, I could have, if I had worked as hard in 2021 as I did in 2019 or 2018, I would have made $1 million. But I didn't make $1 million. Why? Because I made a choice. And again, you could argue I made a healthy choice for my mental health. Thing is, I'm not entirely sure sometimes that I made the right choice. I made the best choice I knew how to make to get through at the time. But I'm like, what if I had just even uploaded one video a week consistently and not missed a week? That would have, because I instead of because I uploaded 40 videos last year, right? Okay. Which is not making a video a week. And honestly, a bunch of those were also live streams, which is not the same performance or anything as a regular edited video. If I had made one recorded video a week, and then also not ghosted my audience at all, and made at least one record video a week and a couple of live streams, dude, I could have probably made double the money or close to the money, or $600,000 last year. And again, people go, oh, well, do you care about money more than your health or your mental health? It's like, what do you think is better for my mental health? Taking 2 months off from my channel and ghosting my audience, or paying down half of my mortgage. Which one of those things do you think is better for my mental health for the longest period of time? Making another 200 something thousand dollars and putting all of it toward my mortgage probably would long term and short term be better for my mental health than a 2-month break. A 2-month break where what I did instead of uploading was get depressed looking at Twitter.
Oh. And that's the thing, right? You can take a break, but I don't know. There's just some type of weird way that people think about YouTube and breaks and no breaks, and they don't understand that when you step away from YouTube, you are going to lose viewers. But this is not just a YouTube thing. This is a real life production thing. The less production you make, the less money, or the less production there is, the less money you make. If Apple didn't make an iPhone this year, they would lose millions.
Because it's opportunity cost. It's opportunity cost. In addition to everything else, you lose the benefits of momentum, not just the benefit of what happens directly from showing up, but the benefit of the continued growth, the benefit of the new lessons, the benefit of the new relationships, the benefit of, because YouTube isn't linear, it's exponential. YouTube's not linear, it's exponential. And I know that everyone will say, well, what about Mr. Beast? What about Patty Galloway? What about James Johnny? Unicorns, my friends, exceptions. Exceptions that don't prove the rule. They are, and again, I know that they go long, but they make videos that people are waiting with bated breath for. Most of us mere mortals ain't out here doing that, Viper, where someone's not going to wait a month for well, what does Roberto think? No one gives a shit about what Roberto thinks enough to wait a month for it. There's, I don't make that kind of content. Mr. Beast makes that kind of content, and Patty Galloway and James Johnny make that kind of content. They make these larger than life videos. Most creators, even creators at 100,000, do not make larger than life videos. What is reliable is literally being reliable for your audience and being consistent.
Right. So when it goes back to this idea of people that we can't take a break on YouTube. Yes, you can. As Trendon said in the chat, as Roberto said in Coffee Talk yesterday, if you have systems in place that will allow for your taking a break and not losing the momentum, you can do that. Now, that will require you to work a little harder to be ready for that break that you want to take, but that's for anything. If you want to step away from your channel, you have that option. And again, Colin and Samir mentioned something else in their video that I want to talk about, and it's this lack of permissions in the YouTube space. Because you are an entrepreneur, because you are an independent content creator, you don't need anyone's permission to take a break from YouTube. That is your decision. But again, if you do that, you have to reap the consequences of that decision if you take a break and you didn't plan for the break that you want to take. Because again, as we've been saying, you can take a break. No one can tell you that you can't take a break from YouTube. But if you take that break, you're going to lose viewers. You're going to lose money.
Because here's the thing. I'm not complaining very loudly, but when I do, I'm complaining to me, not to YouTube, not the algorithm, not even to the audience. That's taking responsibility. Taking responsibility is all right, again, one of my goals, one of my big stretch goals, to prove it can be done, And again, because you don't need to make that kind of money. It's like one of my things is, Viper, and you know this about me, is that there's a lot of a thing where it's if you can't see it, you can't necessarily believe in it. If you can't see it, you can't achieve it. You and I both know that one of the things that people do look to me for partly is that there are people who are introverts that don't think they can speak up for themselves, so they look to my content. There are people who are nerds and who are Black nerds, or who are people of color, or people with Latino heritage that look and they say, okay, well, if he can do it, then maybe I can do something. And it makes a difference. Mm-hmm. There are YouTubers that don't it's very hard to find a YouTuber that looks like me that makes $1 million in a year. But if I can do it and be transparent about it, that's going to be not just an accomplishment for me. And I'm not here trying to virtue signal either, because I want to make the money for me, but I'm also, it'll be dope to be the example, or to be one of the only examples, to be in the same category as a Marquez or a Judner, or you know what I'm saying? It'd be it's a very short list. It's a very prestigious, alumni to join in terms of, okay, be one of the only millionaires who looks like you, right? Or be one of the only person who's achieved this level that looks like you, right? That's important. And so when I do things that put me in a position where that's harder or it's further away, I'm pissed, but I got nobody to look at but myself for that.
Right.
Because I did that. I'm the one who didn't upload that week. I'm the one who ghosted the audience that week or that month or whatever it is. And whether I had a good reason or not doesn't change the fact that it's well, that's on me. Why is YouTube supposed to protect me from my choices?
Exactly. And I have a couple of my coworkers in the chat tonight. One being El Jefe, but the other one, I think this is Rob. Rob is here. What's up, Rob? And Rob is saying that without fail, 3 or 4 times a week for 5 years, he has uploaded video for VidIQ. Now, it's no different because Rob works for VidIQ and that's his job. But here's the thing.
You could treat it like that.
There you go. If you are a full-time creator on YouTube and you are trying to build it into something that allows you to go full-time and it becomes your job, then you have an obligation to yourself and your audience to maintain that level of productivity every single week. That is another argument that somebody was saying about how you shouldn't be required to work every week on YouTube. How is that different from any other job? When a regular 9 to 5, you get 2 weeks a year off if you're lucky, depending on what job you work at.
Do parents get to take a week off?
Oh my Lord! Oh man! And I mean, obviously that's a different situation, but it's still the same. Parents don't. There is no days off for parents. They're parents 24/7.
Like
now, obviously YouTube's a little different.
By the way, it's like what day off? What do you do? Because like even when I'm off of YouTube, I'm not like
there's
when I'm off of YouTube when I'm not uploading. What's the day
there's
off?
no off button for creators.
Now, granted, I kind of take Saturday and Sunday as free days to do how I want, what I want, or do like whatever. Like, but it's like, okay, again, I'm in the wonderful position. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you to my audience of being a homeowner. I don't think people understand that like if you're a homeowner, like your day off is like home maintenance and like cleaning or something like that. It's like you know, there's a lot of things you do. You're sitting there, you're like, I'm gonna like maybe I power wash the driveway. Like you know it's like or like because at that point like you're just sitting there and you're looking at like mold in the driveway or something like that and you don't want to wait till 2 days for somebody that you pay to show up. Sometimes you just want to say, yeah, it's 45 minutes. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna power blast the driveway or whatever. It's like, oh, you got a day off? It's like great, I have a day off. I'm gonna go maintenance my car I'm gonna go take my car to the shop today. It's like, oh, you know, great, I'm gonna go grocery shopping today. Or oh great, I'm gonna go like your time when you're not working on the YouTube channel or your other aspect of your business is time maintenance to your life, assuming that you're not at such a prestigious place to where everything in your life has been outsourced or to where there's not a division of labor where like maybe you eat family or marriage or like, you know, or your kids are old enough to do some chores or whatever. It's like, there's like, there's not a situation where you're like where you're, oh, I don't work or I don't do anything. There's no, like, even for a YouTuber, it's not real. Like you can take what's real is if you go and take a vacation. Now, I don't know about you, Viper, but there's been this like thing for 2 years that means that even if I wanted to, I probably didn't take a vacation the last 2 years.
Yeah. And the other thing, like there's some type of stigma, which we've been discussing during this live stream of how taking a break can negatively impact your YouTube channel. But here's the thing.
Depends on the channel.
What's that?
Depends on the channel.
Yeah, it depends on the channel. But even if that's the case, then you still have the option to take a break. Sometimes you have to look beyond YouTube, like Roberto was talking about earlier, maintaining your mental health. If you need to step away from YouTube, regardless of the impact it has to your channel, then you have to step away. That's just the reality of the situation.
With me, the way that I built my business, I made between 2020 and 2021, I made less content in 2 years than I made in 2019, Viper.
Yeah,
2 years combined, less than I made in 2019. But here's my point though.
Right.
And this is not to brag.
Okay.
But those are the 2 most profitable years I've had in my entire life because I set up the money that happens outside of YouTube AdSense and outside of my views to help do that and scale that. And I also expanded the way that I was monetizing the content I did make by taking on brand deal relationships. And when you have brand deal relationships, you're getting, if you're me, the way I took on my brand deal relationships was I committed to doing a certain amount of things for a certain amount of companies with a 12-month contract and getting paid for that. And that would cover a lot. And it became my biggest income stream by committing to working with brands. And that meant that the work that I needed to do to make a certain amount of money was a specific fixed amount of work versus the variable amount of work that you have to do in YouTube to make a certain amount of money. Then I had all my affiliate stuff that's passive that if I didn't work for the entire 2 years, I would have still made enough money to pay my bills. But I set that up for working for 5 years to set that up because who knows what'll happen. And it proved that, it was a really good business model because it pandemic proofed my income. So I was going to be okay. And I understand that you said, well, that good, nice, though, must be nice, Roberto. But it's like, but you can make choices like I did over the number of years. And you can do the things that I've taught people by making the content. I want to
dig into that because you just explained how you've been over the past 2 years, you've uploaded less than what you did in all of 2019 combined. But you had systems in place for you to make that decision so it did not negatively impact your money and your ability to make money and make a living.
Well, and the ability for me to and for the ability for me to literally take care of like my entire family during the pandemic.
And here's the thing though, that those choices that you made, that is being an entrepreneur. Roberto set his business up to function in such a way that he did not have to be there and work all of the time, where he could still take time away and not upload as much, but still make the money that he needed to make to maintain his business. That is a choice that he made as an entrepreneur. That is a choice that all of you creators that run your YouTube channels have to do. You have nobody to blame but yourself if you're not making.
And here's the thing, like the Emma Chamberlains of the world and people at that level, she's gonna be fine.
Oh God, yeah, she's gonna be fine. Absolutely,
she's gonna be fine. She doesn't need a YouTube away or on vacation button to, her numbers will get down, and maybe that was, she's at 10 million subscribers. It's like everything after this is a gift and a blessing at this point. It's like she's not gonna have to go to 100 million like Mr. Beast. Like that's, it's like this is a blessing, and she's doing great, especially for someone who dropped out of high school. She's doing amazing for herself. She's going to be fine. She has her Chamberlain coffee brand. Just because she's taking a break from YouTube doesn't mean she won't necessarily do brand deals on Instagram, because as best as I can tell, she's not going away from social altogether. I understand she's taking a break from making her regular videos on YouTube. Doesn't mean she's not going to make Instagrams or TikToks and do brand deals. Doesn't mean that she's not going to, people are still going to buy her merch. People are still going to be talking about her, making videos about her. She's still going to be getting views. She's still going to be making probably more ad revenue in, looking at her numbers. She probably is going to make more ad revenue per month than I make per year, even while taking her break, however long it might be. And that's, no shade, no tea. I'm just saying she's going to be just fine. Now, if you're saying, well, I'm not that, I'm a smaller YouTuber, it's like, if you're not a full-time YouTuber, I wouldn't worry about it. If you're a full-time YouTuber, what I would worry about is building monetization systems for your livelihood that exist outside of YouTube, because frankly, even if you're a 9-to-5er, you should be building, from my perspective, some kind of exit ramp to where your income doesn't go to zero if your job fires you, because then you're on an indefinite break and worrying about that. And that's not even your choice at that point. And I've been building things from the perspective of, as someone who's had to think about that before, it's like, how do you make sure your income never goes down to $0? I've been building from that perspective the entire time. I mean, I'm a gamer. It's like, how do I make sure that my bar doesn't go down to the red?
But the beautiful thing about everything that we're talking about tonight is that all the decisions that we made, setting up systems, being prepared in case something were to happen, everything, all of it is under your control as an individual creator. That is the beauty of YouTube. That is the beauty of working for yourself. Everything that happens with you is a direct result of things that you do. Are you doing what Roberto was talking about? Have you set systems up in place to make money outside of YouTube? If you do take a break from YouTube, are you situated in a way that you will still make money without having to upload it on a regular basis? All of this stuff is determined by the individual creator. Nothing out there is stopping you from doing any of this. You don't have to be Mr. Beast or Logan Paul to do the stuff that we're talking about tonight. Anybody, any full-timer, any non-full-timer, any small creator can set this stuff up to be good to go if you can't attend to your channel on a full-time basis.
It's that a lot of people aren't willing to do the things that.
There you go. Like. Oh my God. Exactly. It's all about what you put into it. YouTube is the ultimate bet on yourself. That's why I love YouTube so much, because literally you get out what you put in. If you put in the work, and I've been saying it for the last 2 or 3 years, if you put in the work, things will come back to you good. You will be fine. But if you're not willing to put in the work, then you have to settle for what you get. You literally
Viper, I could put myself in a position to where I have upside, and to where I could take theoretically a quote unquote, I could take I could take 2 weeks off from YouTube if I decide that this week I'm going to pull 1 or 2 like all-nighters. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to like film like 6 videos and edit them before Friday. You know what happens, Viper? If I film 6 videos and I edit them before Friday, I could literally go ahead and take 2 or 3 weeks off, because I could just schedule 2 videos a week.
Yep.
Like I could schedule like a Monday and Wednesday video or Wednesday and Friday video for the next 3 weeks after I blitz through that. And I could take 3 weeks and do whatever the hell I want for 3 weeks. And I could just have 2 videos going out a week, which still be more consistent for a good while than I've been in a long time, to have 2 videos come out a week like clockwork at scheduled. It'd be the most consistent I've been in a long time. And that would be that. And that wouldn't be that hard for the type of content I make. Here's the thing. Well, Roberto, I make this type of content. I make this kind of content. It takes me 10 hours to make a video. It takes me 20 hours to make a video. It's like, that's a choice you're making too. At what point did you decide to get efficient at your editing process to where it doesn't take you 20 hours to make a video and it takes 5? Or what point did you decide, you know what, I do not need all this B-roll, and I figured out how to just improve my performance on camera to carry it and do that? It's like, at what point did you make that decision? Like, I've been looking at my content and saying, you know what, I got just as many views without all this damn B-roll. I can cut down the editing and I can get efficient. I can get back to consistency and I can put out more content. And if I put out more content, my channel will grow more. Whenever I put out more content, Viper, my channel grows more. When I put out more content, I make more money. When I put out more content, I get more subs. When I put out more content, I get more views and get it more consistently. And I've seen it. I have the data. I have the analytics in front of me. I know that. I know that, damn, I got to put out a video, at least 1 video a week. And if I really want to grow, I got to put, that's what grew me before is, so I know that the years, because I have all the data for as long as I've been on YouTube. Viper, if I go back to putting out 3 videos, at least 3 videos a week, 2 to 3 videos a week, and I don't miss a week for the year, as long as I upload about 120 videos a year, Viper, I will get about 100,000 subscribers in a year. If I upload less than that, I'm going to get less. That is how it is. You saw on Twitter, I was showing the yearly stats for like my subscriber growth for yearly stats. And someone was like, well, wow, what happened, after 2019? I was like, well, 2020 and 21 happened. It's like, you know what happened after 2019? The damn pandemic. That's what happened.
All right. Like, so I want to go back to what you just said. You just talked about how if you wanted to take like a week or 2 off of YouTube, you could spend a Friday night batch recording 6 videos and then schedule those out to go out over the next 2 or 3 weeks. You could do that. And you wouldn't lose any revenue because you would still be uploading regularly, even though technically you would be on a break.
So much.
I'd gain. Or the other option, you don't do that and you take the break anyway, and then you lose those views, you lose that money. But again, the beautiful thing about being a YouTube creator is that it's all your choice. You can choose to make content in advance to cover any breaks that you want to take, or you can choose to just take a break cold turkey, upload have nothing for your audience and suffer the consequences. But it is literally your choice. And that's why I love YouTube, because it gives you the option as an independent business owner, because again, that's what all of us are. If we're making money on YouTube, we are independent business owners. It is our business. Your YouTube channel is your business, and you can make any decision that as it relates to that channel to run it how you see fit. If you want to take a break, fine. You can make content to cover that break, or you can take a break cold turkey, but you will reap the consequences of whatever decision that you make. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it is your decision to make.
What people won't admit is they want to be excused from the consequences of their actions. Like, and not just limited to YouTube. That's where we are culturally right now. I won't get heavily into that, but think about it. Everything you see in social media is, I only want, like, I want everyone else to be accountable for everything they do, but I don't want these consequences for whatever I choose in life. That's unfair, right? Well, it's with YouTube. It's like, oh, I want to take breaks, but I want to still gain subs. I still want to make money. I don't want the views to go down, and I don't want to come back looking to numbers that depress me. It's like, so you want to get the same results from all that hard work you did without doing any additional hard work. Yes, thank you. You understand. I want the same outcome without the same input. I'm like, that makes no sense.
No.
How?
And again, when you are a content creator,
that's why for me, I know it's like, okay, I am not going to probably get exactly what I would get if I made 100 videos, if I make 40, because I can't just pretend that the 40 is better somehow and that the quality somehow magically improved by doing less. That's probably not true.
No. And when you are a content creator, again, you are your business owner. You are the CEO of your YouTube channel. You do not need anyone's permission to take a break. I don't care who they are, your audience or anybody. It is your channel. It is your business. You can do what you need to do to take care of yourself. And I said this earlier today on Twitter, and I will say it again. You have to take care of yourself first before anybody else. Because if you don't take care of yourself, no one is going to take care of you but you. You have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of anybody else. So if that means that you have to walk away from your YouTube channel for a little bit, then you got to do that. If that means taking care of yourself, then you can't feel bad about that. But again, if you do that, like I just said earlier, if you don't have a plan in place to incorporate that break into still being able to make money, then you know what you're going to walk into or walk back into when you get back. You're going to have to make that ground up that you lost. But ultimately,
I mean, again, to be honest, the bill collectors don't care if I'm burned out.
No, they don't care. And your audience doesn't care either. They affect
it's
content.
It's not their problem. Like, yeah, it's not their problem. It's like, it's not the audience's problem.
Ooh, yeah. And here's the other thing. Number one, it's not the audience's problem. And number two, there are so many other creators making content on YouTube that if you step away, they're going to go and watch someone else. And you could lose a potential viewer or subscriber because while you're on break, they may forget about you, or they may go watch somebody else who they like better than you.
And it is what it is.
It is what it is. But this does not mean that the platform should coddle you and make it easier for you to be a creator. What kind of stupid shit is that? No business in the world works that way. You don't get coddled by the platform. That is, and I saw something else online today that really made my blood boil. Kind of. Apparently, I forget where it is, but apparently they're I guess some state are going to make it legal for parents to sue big tech companies for getting their kids addicted to their products like Facebook and all this stuff. Now, just like, are you kidding me right now? Really?
Oh, that's not going to get held up by the Supreme Court in any way, shape, or form. That's not possible.
True. I mean, regardless of the situation, I cannot believe we are at a point in our lives where we are blaming the tech company for making our children addicted to
this is what I mean, Viper. Like, no such thing as individual responsibility exists.
Clearly, if we're trying to sue Apple and Facebook and Instagram for making our kids more addictive, then that's a failure of accountability. In my opinion, that is a failure of accountability on the parents.
What else would you call it at that point? It's like if that's where we are in society, it's like, you know what? Aliens, predators, take me now. Like,
really? How in the world can you as a parent blame the tech company because you can't parent better? Like, what? What is that?
You know, that's why I'm like not a fan of I'm not a fan of, I mean, the platforms want to give people options. Look, give people options. That's fine. I'm fine for people having options, whatever. And okay, cool. Like, and maybe it's, and who knows, maybe I'm wrong about the future and maybe it performs. We'll see. Like, because people cry all the time about stuff, like, fine. And then they forget about it in 6 months. I guarantee it. I remember when YouTube took away the live sub counter thing. Mm-hmm. People screamed about it for about 8-9 months, and you haven't heard about it and never seen or heard from again, right? It's been about what now? We're not quite at 6 months, I don't think. Maybe we're at 4 or 5 months since they took away the much beloved, tragically ended before its time dislike counter that I don't miss at all and that I never gave a crap about at all. And the only thing is, you only have a handful of psychopaths who still care and still talk about it on freaking Reddit and tweet about it every now and again as if it's not coming back, bros. It's not coming back. No, and it's like, good riddance. And it hasn't mattered because, again, you know what? The same people that there's only a small portion of the people who are whining and crying about it still talking about it now. The rest of people have been using the platform and have been like, it's just as good as any. This is going to ruin YouTube. This is going to be Scamapalooza. Actually, I should tell somebody to build the brand around Scamapalooza as scam. It's going to be a scammer free for all and blah 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 blah. It's like. Nothing happened. It didn't play out that way. Nothing happened. It wasn't some catastrophe. I remember when YouTube Premium was coming out and they said it was YouTube Red. Everyone was like, YouTube Red is going to be the end of YouTube. It's going to destroy creators. They're going to use this as an excuse to start taking away ad revenue and oh my God. YouTube Premium's been a blessing to everybody.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? It's always, I've been around so long every single year, I could almost tell you every single year what people wanted to complain and bitch about. I mean,
so
like, real talk.
Going back to what I was talking about earlier about parents suing tech companies, we've gotten to a point where these tech companies have to include features on our phones to tell us to get off the phone. What the screen time, digital well-being? Are you serious?
No, that's stupid. No,
I wish I would let my phone tell me how to dictate how to use it. You must be crazy. Get out of here with this stuff. But if we don't, if Apple or Google doesn't include that stuff in the phone, then everybody has a problem. We're sorry to our phone. These companies
your tax dollars at work.
No,
your tax dollars at work.
Put the phone down, okay?
Tax dollars at work.
Put the phone down. If you are on a date with somebody, why the hell are you looking at your phone? Why? You can't put your phone down for one evening to enjoy time on your date? Are you kidding me? And you're gonna blame an Apple and a Google because you can't put your damn phone down? That is bullshit.
Viper, come on, we live in a society. Viper, we live in a society.
Bruh. I don't care. You're on a date. Put the phone away.
No, I agree. Obviously, I agree.
It's just right. I'm just saying, but if you can't put the phone away on a date, that's not Apple and Google's fault. That's your fault.
Viper, we're gonna wake up in Demolition Man. Everybody's gonna like get it on only in the metaverse and everything like that. Everyone's gonna get it own exclusive in the metaverse and everything like that. We already went through 2 years.
Oh man,
we already went through 2 years where you can't shake hands or hug nobody, and it's like I'm surprised that we literally just didn't end up doing the freaking circle. Like it's been 2 years where it's like you can't. So we can't do that.
Oh my
it's like
God.
We're gonna put on the headphones. It's like they drug this stuff out like 1 or 2 more years and everything like that. We'd be living in Demolition Man. I swear to you. It's like it's not even a joke anymore. It's that they're gonna make Demolition Man the actual future we're gonna live in. It's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be terrible. I'm gonna go get Wesley Snipes out of cryo myself.
I love that movie. So I love that analogy.
Yeah, like it's like I'm gonna go get freaking
oh Lord,
Stallone and freaking Wesley Snipes out of freaking cryo myself.
Yeah, all restaurants will be Taco Bell.
Like maybe.
But you know what?
You're gonna need the 3 shells after that. Yeah,
it was in the same movie that somebody had said that the world had become a pussy with Brady Bunch of Mickey Mouse version of itself, and that's literally where we are right now with all this stuff going on.
Pretty close. People
unwilling to take accountability for their own actions and blaming the platform for their lack of being able to handle their own individual.
You remember, like in Demolition Man, you used to get fined for speaking obscenities.
Yep.
We about there, dude. We about there. This bloody cancel culture and all the damn censorship and wrong think and the like we're there. Like I'm not even joking. I feel like I'm living in like the precursor, the prequel to Demolition Man.
We might be, man. We might be at this
point. You know, real talk. But going back to, but in all seriousness, going back to burnout, I'm like, look, burnout's a real thing. I've talked about it, and like, right. But it's like, but here's the thing: people cry so much about, oh, hustle culture is so toxic. It's like hustle culture comes from sports. The term hustle culture was co-opted into this idea of toxic work to death, which, by the way, no entrepreneur actually does. No entrepreneur actually does that. Y'all, like, you can't talk out of your mouth and cry about hustle culture and at the same time cry about Instagram, about all these people on vacation and living their best life, and oh, must be nice seeing them with their washboard abs and all this stuff, and like they're fancy. Like, it's like you can't have it both ways, because it's like, how do you believe for 1 minute that these people are telling you to live an unhealthy lifestyle when they literally are on vacation every month, at the gym every morning, and are taking pictures of their frou-frou salads every other day and posting that? It's like, so wait. You mean the same people that are health nuts, the same people who are posting their selfies from the gym, shilling vitamins, and on vacation, resting up in the Bahamas every other month, or traveling the world, resting every other month, and everything like that, showing off their washboard abs, don't want you to be healthy? Make that one make sense. Like, because what you, or they're not saying a healthy example. It's like, so wait. These people are taking photos of all their salads. They're posting their self-care routine as their literal content. They're on vacation every month, clearly. They have outsourced things in their life they don't want to do. And they're lifting weights, but they want you to be unhealthy, and they're telling you to work yourself to death. It's like, That's incongruent, and that's not what people are saying. And when people I know people gave Kim Kardashian all this crap about like work hard, work hard, work hard. It's like, she's not really a hypocrite, Viper, because the thing is, she technically a long time ago could have stopped working for money. Most of the people complaining about her, I know that they just don't want to hear it from Kim, but she's not wrong. Like, and I know a lot of people won't agree with me on that. And I'm not saying here, oh, wow, of course you're caping for Kim Kardashian. I'm like, am I though? Because like, here's my thing. Viper, I did an experiment. I said the same thing as Kim Kardashian, but I just changed the substitute for the word young men. Got like 5,000 like views on Instagram Reels, and nobody complained. I put it in a YouTube short, nobody complained. I put it in TikTok, nobody complained. I just substituted everything Kim Kardashian said in terms of women in business, and I said young men going into business, and I said the same thing, and I just said it with my tone and like what's consistent for me, and nothing but compliments. Nothing but like, which tells you it's just the messenger and maybe a slight tonality shift on the message. But as I said the same thing about young men, no one complained and is going to say, like, I said the same thing about young men.
You know,
I said the same thing about young men and nobody complained. Now, here's the thing about it though. She could have stopped because everyone says, oh, easy for these rich people to say. It's like, these are people who could have stopped working and could be on permanent vacation.
Literally.
And they still
work.
Are doing so. Like, you can't complain or say about their work ethic or call them privileged in that way. You can say they have a better lifestyle. You can say they're fortunate, but it's like, but they're still working, and they still worked for scaling what they have, and they still do things that it's like, I frankly would find it challenging to do the work that they're doing a lot of times. I realistically look at the crap that some of them do. I've seen what it is to do the work on these shoots, do the work on some of these projects. I look at that and I go, is that what I have to do to make that much money? I don't know, man. Like, and I don't want to do that level of work sometimes, to be honest with you, Viper. I do not want to, I've been the person behind the camera on a photo shoot. And I can tell you for a fact that the models that I shot had to work just as hard, if not harder than me in a lot of cases. So a lot of people complain about like Instagram models and influencers and say that that's not real work and everything like that. I'm like, have you ever been on a photo shoot?
Oh, it's funny because people don't really see everything that goes on behind the scenes. They only see you when you're facing them in a public facing form, and they want to hate. I'll give you a perfect example of what happened to me at work today. I was at work today on a live stream, and someone asked a question. Although it was a valid question, it was kind of like, damn, really? But they were like, yo, why is Viper here giving tips on how to grow when his channel's small, not growing, and different things like that? I'm just like, oh, okay. I mean, I was polite as I can be, but I'm thinking to myself, really, dude? Like, have you done your homework? Have you done your research about everything I've done in the past 4 years? And do you understand that I am more than just my whole channel and vanity metrics? Like,
oh, facts.
Bro,
like,
there is so much stuff that has happened behind the scenes that we creators do and other platforms that we're on and just different things that we're involved in.
Well, it's 8 to 12. Remember how like both me and Marquez have talked about how it's like 8 to 12 skills. He calls it like the 8 arms of the octopus. And then I broke it down into like his 12 skills that you have to be a successful creator. Mm-hmm. But all of those 12 things or 8 things could just be a job with a good salary too. Like not even a regular 9 to 5, a little bit like a good salary job. Like if you are a graphic designer and you're good, you could make a full-time income, which means the level of YouTube, the level of being a YouTube graphic designer that you have to do. If you can do that, you could also probably do billboard design. If you learn the techniques and skills and translate it, you could probably do package design, post design. Like that's what I used to do for a living. If you can do graphic design at the level that's required to get 100,000 to 1 million views on a YouTube video, you probably can be doing graphic design for a company that's good enough to sell the product. So like that's real. So that's a good job. If you can do the level of headline writing and copywriting that takes to get 100,000 to 1 million views on a video, you can do the headline writing and copywriting for ads that will get people to click on things and buy them and make companies millions of dollars, which means that's a good salary job. Most copywriters make between, I think, $65,000 to $130,000 a year right now in America. So that's a good paying job, a good paying salary. It's a high income skill. And guess what? Less than 1% of the population has the skill. Video editing, less than 1% of the population has the skill. Coding, less than 1% of the population have the skill, right? Being able to be very good at marketing and brand building, it's a high income skill. You go and you work as a marketing manager at a good company, not even a Fortune 500, just a good company, just an SMB company, you can have a really good salary as a marketing manager if you can prove yourself. And I'm talking prove yourself. I'm not just talking entry level, because everyone always uses the entry level salaries. It's like, I'm talking about competency. I'm talking about actually being good at your job, like not being on a 90-day evaluation. Like you can make a really good salary. You can start at a good and like a good mid-tier marketing manager position, not an entry-level position. Now, again, you can't work for like a Bobo local company. You have to work for an SMB, a good company, like a company that has like, it can't be like a company that has like 30, 40 employees. It has to be like a company that has, it's not conglomerate, but it has to be like a company that has like 100, 200, 300 employees. You can make a good salary there. You could probably make 80, 85,000 and not live in New York or California, which is a really, really good salary. You're balling if you live in the South or in the Midwest. And these are like, everything a YouTuber does is a job that you could make $55,000 to $100,000 a year doing at a company. Every single one of these things that a YouTuber has to do.
All of it.
If you just reduce it to a job.
All of
it. So like that's one reason why YouTubers who are massively successful earn so much money and command so much money. Because make no mistake, they're valuable outside of YouTube on sheer technical ability or creative work. They would be valuable. There's so much to that, and people are dismissive of that because I'm like, well, have you ever done it? Like, and do you know people who do it? And do you know the behind the scenes? Or have you been like, it's like people outside the industry are incredibly naive about all of this stuff. And they judge it so much. And I mean, even the people judging you, it's like, you're not really being judged that often by people with even 10,000 subscribers because they know better and they know like, yeah, just because like you have like 6,000 on one channel, 1,000 something on another channel, a couple hundred on another, they understand how difficult it is and how many things you're up against. And again, you had an actual legit algorithm problem confirmed by YouTube. So like there's like, but now again, I know everyone doesn't have the context on your channel in that way.
Right.
But if you ain't got the context, what you doing commenting? You know, like, but other than that,
like I said,
do they also think VidIQ would hire somebody that doesn't know what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of my point. Like, yo, I even finished the answer to the question. I'm like, yo, maybe you should ask yourself really why I'm here, literally, because like Roberto said, VidIQ is not going to hire just any old body. Like, dude, they're not doing it. I'm sorry.
The other thing is, can they look at things you're saying and then find a contradiction in what you're saying compared to me, Nick Nimmin, Sean Cannell, Daryl Eves, Catherine Manning, Vanessa Lau? Like, are they gonna sit there and they're gonna find anything that you've said and put out there that contradicts the things that the biggest people in YouTube have said? The answer is probably no. Oh. And by biggest people, we're not necessarily talking about like Mr. Beast, but we're talking like the biggest people in YouTube education, which by the way, YouTube educators will sometimes contradict big YouTubers because big YouTubers often speak from their own macro experience or speak to people at their level. And I'm not saying that they're out of touch and they don't know what they're talking about. I'm saying that there's a real difference though between a mega creator, a mid-tier creator, a macro creator, a micro influencer, a nano influencer. And I'm actually trying to remake my content to address the difference in dynamics of, you should watch this content if you're like under 1,000 subscribers. You should be watching this content if you're under 10,000. You should be watching this content if you're over 10, but under 100,000. And if you're over 100,000 subscribers, you should be watching this content from me. And I'm trying to actually even make content with those buckets because it is a completely different experience. It's a much different experience, even between like some niches, which is why eventually I'm going to do like a 15 tips video for like each of the major core niches, like gaming, music, vlogging, blah, 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 is because, and it's going to take me forever. It's going to take me like 2 years to finish all this, but it's like, or longer, depending on how it goes. But like, cause I make other things outside of YouTube or help content. But my point is that the way that the YouTube educators and the way we give advice is we try to give best practices advice that would, if we're giving growth advice, we're giving best practices advice, which means we're giving the closest thing to universally applicable advice, regardless of subscriber count, genre, niche, and most people's circumstances, because it's broad audience content. But if I made content that is only meant for people who are already full-time YouTubers, the advice for full-time YouTubers is radically different than the advice for part-time YouTubers or people getting started or people still working a 9-to-5 job. The advice that applies to you if you work a 9-to-5 job while doing YouTube is not the advice that applies to you if you stop working a 9-to-5 job and do YouTube.
Yeah, and I'll have to bring up a good point in chat here about how many new creators feel like if your sub count isn't high, you can't teach them anything. And I worry
more about your video count. I've worried much more about your video count.
And I even addressed it at work today. I'm like, listen, we try to bring different perspectives on the stream. So we have bigger creators, middle creators, smaller creators like myself. We bring you different perspectives, but everybody has something of value to offer if you're doing content creation on YouTube. We are all at different points in our journey. We've all learned different things. We've all kind of observed how the platform works. So just because I'm a small creator, I've been on the platform 4 years. I have 4 years of experience trying to grow multiple channels that I can offer.
You've also made hundreds of videos, and you've actually done about 100 interviews.
Yeah. So all of that, but that person probably didn't know all that, so that's why. But
well, then they didn't have no business opening their mouth.
You know, I can't say that while I'm at work, but you know what it is. But I guess my big takeaway though is that just don't judge a book by its cover. Like clearly, if people are in positions that they're in, maybe it might behoove you to figure out how they got to that position instead of hating on them or questioning them. See what's happening or figure out what happened to get them there. Okay?
One of the most ignorant things someone can do is assume that someone else is undeserving of their position or success.
I got to be honest with y'all. I've spent less time hating and more time trying to figure out how successful creator became successful. Because I don't have time to hate. I'm trying to get to where they are.
But I'm talking about like real talk though, Viper, real talk though, in general. And we have this cultural problem right now where everyone assumes that everyone just tell us you got lucky or tell us like, or at least admit that luck played a certain role in your success or blah, blah, blah. It's like people need to stop. The most ignorant and uneducated thing you can do is assume that there's not a logical, rational, legitimate, evidence-based reason for an outcome, and that it was somehow do you realize how unlikely it is for something to be a random act of chance, Viper? Do you realize how statistically unlikely? Actually, let me ask you something, Viper. And this is how distorted people's reality is. Based on the evidence that we currently have, do you think that you're more likely to be homeless or a millionaire in America?
The evidence that we currently have, more likely to be, as you know what, I mean, given all the stuff that's probably out there, probably people would think you're more likely to be a millionaire.
The fact is you're more likely to be a millionaire based on data, which people think is insane. They think it's crazy. They think it's absurd. But right now, here's what happened more people became millionaires. More people in America became first-time non-inheritance-based millionaires last year in America than the amount of homeless people we have, period, in aggregate. Because most people are uneducated about everything. They assume things they don't know. Most people would assume that we have millions of homeless people in America. The most generous estimate would be 1 million if you believe that we have a 30% margin of error, because the actual number is 650,000 people, which is still horrible, and 250,000 people unsheltered. And even if you wanted to be even if you wanted to believe that somehow the US government has a 30% margin of error on this data, then you go, okay, it's 1 million out of 340 million Americans though. And then if I asked you, well, how many millionaires do you think we have in America?
Whew, man, I don't know. I at this point, probably a lot.
If you were going to throw out a number and guess.
Oh, Lord. Man. I would probably guess 500,000, probably more than that. That's probably
a little over 20 million.
I figured it, yeah.
America has a little over 20 million millionaires. 8.8% of the population of America is millionaires. And people think that number is absurd, but you have to remember, we have 340 million people in America. Right. Yeah. And we have how many small businesses in America? Not mega corporations, but I'm talking about how many family restaurateurs, like family-owned restaurants. How many small restaurant chains where they have 5 of them in a state? How many people do we have, immigrants who came over and made good, worked hard, and owned 3 liquor stores or 5 gas stations? How many, and by the way, 65% of it is in people's home equity, because guess what? 65% of American adults are homeowners. But you'd never know that. You'd never realize that the odds are, if you hang in there, this is my message of hope. It's not that you're going to be rich. It's that if you hang in there, every piece of data that we have says that if you hang in there and you're consistent, you will probably be okay, at least.
Yes.
The worst possible scenario is a 1% outlier situation, less than 1%. The worst thing that could happen to you while still being alive, the worst things that could happen to you are such a small percentage of outcomes that people have that letting that fear dominate every waking moment of your life is not practical. And what is the most practical thing you could do, my friend, is be hopeful, because the odds are in your favor. If you turn off Twitter and Facebook and mainstream media, and you also stop listening to the most unhappy, most toxic people in your life, all of a sudden, where are these negative signals and negative thoughts going to come from in the first place? Because all evidence-based, to the contrary of popular opinions, all the facts dictate the following, Viper. The median income in America is $55,000 a year.
Yes.
Most people don't live in New York and California, which means that if you're single, no kids, you probably are going to make it on $55,000 a year pretty easily if you don't live in New York or California.
True story.
And the thing is, that's not people's median peak earning in their lifetime either. That's just the current. And that's including a median, not an average, because the average is skewed by the people who make nothing and the people who make a lot. But the median, 50% of the American population or more is earning $55,000 a year or more. Mm-hmm. We're almost to double digits of the percentage of the population. By the time all these very young yet Gen Z people that are in the creator economy grow up, and when that becomes more of a way of life for more people become creators, the odds are we'll have double digits of the percent of population being millionaires in our lifetime, Viper. In our lifetime, you'll be double digits in the percentage of people who are millionaires. And in our lifetime, I doubt it'll ever get to 1 million people that we can verify being homeless and being unsheltered specifically, because that number is already, it's not what I'd like it to be, which is next to nothing. But think about it, 340 million people, and not even 1 million people have that worst case scenario. We still have way too many people incarcerated, but that's 3 million. So it's not even a full 1% of the population. It's still too much per capita, by the way. Still too bad. It's still a bit, but think about it. Two of the worst outcomes that you could think of, being homeless or being incarcerated, it's not even like a 1% of the population that has that outcome. So the odds are in your favor that you're going to be okay. In like for real, it actually is very like, it's much more likely that if you are consistent, thoughtful, live intentionally, do the best that you can, the odds are maybe you're not mega rich, but the odds are that you're probably not going to be destitute.
Indeed.
And I'm fine with us improving, by the way, what the bottom looks like. I'm fine with us improving what that looks like. But I don't understand. Well, I do understand. But my problem is there's been this manufacturing of doom. There's this manufacturing of doom that makes everyone think that they're just going to wake up tomorrow and lose everything. And I get how scary that can be, but it's not statistically backed up by any reasonable thing that would happen to you. And it's much less likely if we also think about, well, are we doing better by the people around us? And all right, because that means that the odds are that things are going to be reciprocal. Maybe not always, but it's like, and okay, am I being a good judge of character to have good people around me who will reciprocate me doing the right thing? Am I being a good judge of character to have people around me that are going to have my back if things go sideways? Am I putting out good karma and good actions? Am I giving myself a fighting chance? Am I doing things? It's like, it all adds up, dude. The math says that the math says you're blessed enough to be an American. The math says that if you're blessed enough to be an American, maybe you're not going to be rich, maybe you're not going to be famous, but you're probably going to be all right. Yeah. And if you're on these platforms, it's not impossible for you to get 1,000 people to care about you and to come through. And if you can get 1,000 people to care about you and come through, how hard do you think it is? If you got 1,000 ride or die people, you might not do it in a year, but like 1,000 ride or die people. You don't think you can earn 1,000 ride or die people in 5 to 10 years? And if you can earn 1,000 ride or die people over 5 to 10 years, what, you aren't going to create like $100 worth of value for each of them? Like, you can get to 100,000. Like, you can get to $55,000 a year. You just got to create some real value, and you got to build some real people around you.
So I want to talk about this real quick from Elvira. She's bringing up a Bill Gates quote. If you were born poor, it's not your mistake, but if you die poor, it's your mistake. Well, as we just talked about here, I mean, if you're in America, you have every opportunity to make your life better, especially with the internet. I've talked about this before, and I will talk about it again. Anybody who owns one of these, no matter if it's an iPhone, Android, or whatever, you have the possibility to change your life and make your situation better if you own one of these.
Yeah, I think there's only like 3 things that are big, like aside from like tragic at-home circumstances, you know, abuse or neglect. Outside of abuse or neglect, you lose the dice roll on who your parents are or something like that.
Right.
The only other things that I think you really have to really deal with to shift that to being almost absolutely true is we need the baseline of what education is to be much better than what it is right now for everybody that attends a public school. You need the healthcare situation to be better for everybody, regardless of income level or employment status. And you would need, so it was healthcare, it was education, there was one more. Oh yeah, and then you need to fix criminal justice so everyone gets a fair shake. And if you fix, which mostly just legalize marijuana and stuff like that and be done with it. But you do that, you do those things, you fix criminal justice, you fix education, you fix healthcare. Those are big things. They're not small things, but I'm saying it's not easy. I'm saying it's very simplistic in terms of, well, if you do that, what's working against you now? At that point, it's were you in a situation of abuse or neglect? And then at that point, it's like, well, then why is your community not involved? And that's what we have to change on a cultural level. We need to build stronger communities, stronger families, stronger neighborhoods, so that when people have the bad luck of the draw on their family that they're born into, the village picks up the slack there. And that's what, and then so like that one thing outweighs the other. The village can easily outweigh, that situation very rapidly, but we're not thinking in that way as a society. And that's the biggest change that would make a difference.
Yeah, I think,
data supports hope. Data supports hope.
Yeah, a lot of times, especially in our society, we are out for ourselves, and sometimes we step on each other, unfortunately, to get to the higher levels. Or we think we can get to higher levels by stepping on each other, but that's just not the case, especially in the creator community. I have told
creator community is great.
That we take care of each other, and that's largely the case usually. Now, we do have our squabbles from time to time, but largely, creators take care of each other. But, But this goes back to the entire point of this whole live stream. We in America, because obviously we live in America, we can't really speak for other countries, but in America,
I can only speak a little bit to it from the perspective of my immigrant parents. Like
in America, in the US, you have the option, well, not the US, but speaking of the US, you have the option to have a YouTube channel. You have the option to build it into a sustainable business. And when you do that, you can literally do whatever you want with it as you see fit. Again, there is no permission, hierarchy, manager, CEO structure that is holding you back or capping your ceiling. Your ceiling as an independent content creator is whatever the hell you want it to be. And once you realize that as a creator, the sky is the limit. There's nothing. What's that?
You and I have talked to Marquez enough, as much as people always think that it was easier in the old days. You and I have talked to Marquez enough to where if they think it's hard now, it's worse then. Marquez got kicked out of the YouTube partner program 3 times. Most people would have stopped trying. Y'all discouraged because you can't get to 1,000 subscribers. He could get that and still couldn't stay partnered back then. PewDiePie had 30,000 subscribers and was rejected from the YouTube partner program. It was so harsh back in the day. People who think that have no idea what they're talking about because they weren't there.
Yeah, but again, right
today
now,
you got it good. I'm saying
right now we live in the age of opportunity. Basically, what you're saying is that you can grow a channel and run it how you see fit, and the only thing that blocks your outcome, that can block your potential, is literally you. And that is the beauty of being an entrepreneur in America. You can get on YouTube, grow a channel, scale a business, and do whatever you want. Again, if you want to walk away and take that break, you can do that. But there are consequences depending on if you have systems in place to fill in for the gaps that you're not there. But you can do that. You can either have a system in place to take your break, or you don't have a system and you face no consequences. But that is a choice that you make. And having a YouTube channel is one of the greatest things ever, because it literally allows you, the individual, to get out what you put in. YouTube, as Travis, if Travis was here, he would tell you guys firsthand, YouTube is the ultimate bet on yourself. If you believe in yourself enough to go on this YouTube journey and grow, the sky is the damn limit. Nothing can stop you but you. And as long as you take nothing away, if you take anything away from this live stream, just understand that YouTube is the ultimate bet on yourself, and you are your only limit. Everything else is under your control. You can grow and be great as you want on YouTube. You can limit yourself as much as you limit yourself on YouTube as well. But it ultimately comes down to you as the creator. And nobody else can influence that. It's all up to you. Do with that information what you will.
Oh, facts. Like you speaking nothing but facts on me. Like, I mean, I was just going through even my own analytics data and like kind of like grabbing like screenshots of just like my year after year after year, like YouTube like journey. And it's like, you know, I mean, it starts out modest. It's like, it is what it is. It's like, but like, why wouldn't it? You don't know anything when you start, like, you know, and even when you're learning stuff and you're putting stuff out, well, you're still learning, you're still doing it. Like it's training. I mean, how are you going to put less than 5 years into, like, I think my biggest problem is like the fact that all anyone does is look at and praise YouTubers who like blew up really fast. And most of the biggest YouTubers, frankly, as best as we know, at least on some of their current channels, with the exception of like Mr. Beast, like, thank God for Mr. Beast. Cause like Mr. Beast has been like at this stuff for like 10, 11 years. There's going to come a point in like 2 or 3 years where he's going to have been a YouTuber for longer of his lifespan than he hasn't been. Mm-hmm. It's like, there's going to be like, okay, he's going to be able to say he's been doing YouTube for more than half his life. In like 2 more years, he'll be able to say, yeah, I've been doing YouTube for more than half my life. Like, which is crazy. When he turns like 35, he will be able to say he's done YouTube twice as long as he hasn't. Like, you know, that's crazy. Right.
And sometimes it takes 10 years to get great at YouTube. Hell, look at your best professional athletes. If they stay consistent and they're really at the top of their game, they've probably been there for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. It's not impossible. Roberto's been doing this for 8 years now.
Some crazy like thing like that. Like, yeah,
you got to put in the work. You got to pay. It's called paying your dues. A lot of y'all want instant gratification, results, and that's
like
not realistic.
Next year, it'll be like 9-10 years of taking this seriously. Yeah, no, 10 years. Like it'll be like 10 years doing this.
There are no shortcuts.
Like, being committed to like actually like so it'll be like being actually committed to doing this and having an audience. It'll be next year in July, August. It'll be 10 years.
There are no shortcuts, Law.
A decade of being disciplined at this. Like, yeah, a decade of being disciplined at this.
Mr. Beast's been doing it for 10 years. Marquez Brownlee's been doing it for 10 years. Flossie Carter's been doing it for 10 years.
Marquez just celebrated, I think, his 14-year anniversary or something.
My bad, 14. Justine's been doing it for like, bruh, there is no shortcuts. You either put in the work and keep going and don't give up, or you blame out, give up, and watch everybody else go past you. Because again, if you give up, somebody's just going to go past you anyway, because there are people that want it more. The question is, how bad do you want it?
Everybody's looking at a handful of people that manifested a career in like less than a year, 2 years, 3 years, less than 5 years, and everything like that. And it's like, and that my problem is, and the way I teach YouTube is like, I'm like, that's not what's normal, y'all.
Yeah, that's not
what's normal, y'all. The most likely outcome, if you wanted to be a successful content creator, is 5 to 7 years is the most likely version of having a successful outcome. And it's going to be 500 to 1,000 videos. That's, I mean, I have the data from 3 million channels, scraped from 3 million channels to tell me that. Like, that was provided to me by a company. Like, it was anonymized data. It was like 3 million channels that are, and since they were using a tool that says, oh, well, you're taking it seriously. If you went through the trouble to get a tool, you're using it seriously. Right. So it's like 3 million people who at least are serious enough to use a tool. And the aggregate data says that, well, on average, out of any of y'all that got anywhere, Here's what the numbers are. And the facts are it's 5 to 7 years and it's 500 to 1,000 videos. Now, just like in the real world, if you ask people, well, how long does it take to get a business to profitability? Not even being successful and like crushing it, just to stop breaking even or going into debt. Well, it's like 5 years. I mean, I'm not getting super political here, but it's like, everyone complains about Jeff Bezos and talks about Amazon not paying tax. First of all, it does pay taxes. You pay payroll taxes. There's like, people don't realize that taxes are more than wages. I think people who've only ever earned a W-2 are letting politicians lie to them about how taxes work. That's why I had to do a video about YouTube taxes, because once you do YouTube, you're like, wait a minute, what's this 1099 thing that I got going on here? Wait, what's the self-employment tax down? Taking 15%? YouTube already took 45%. Wait. You took 45% of my money, YouTube. Okay, wait. And now at that 45%, the government wants 15 for self-employment taxes, and then the state wants taxes, and then they want federal tax. Like, wait a minute, wait. You got almost half of the ad revenue. Okay, respect. You gave me the platform. Now, after I done spent money to get this thing up and running and do all this stuff, y'all tax me 3 times on it. Well, if you're in California, we're actually taxing you 4 times. If you're in New York or California, we're taxing you 4 times. Wait, what? See, you learn a different appreciation for taxes when you become a YouTuber. And that's why I don't understand all these YouTubers that dunk on Bezos all the time, because I'm like, y'all know the politicians are lying, because you know that you're being taxed 4 times minimum on every dollar you make. And if you're putting money into your retirement accounts, you're being taxed 5 or 6 times on every dollar you make on top of it then too. The same money you earned to put away for your retirement, you're going to get taxed on that at some point in a way. So you're paying taxes anywhere from 4 to 6 times on the same dollar. And I only bring it up by this. The reason I bring up Bezos is because everyone cries about how wealthy Bezos is and about the taxes and everything like that. It's like Amazon is 25 years old, and Amazon cost so much money being sunk into it, because remember, Amazon was funded through initial private investment, which means it starts in debt. Amazon wasn't profitable for years. And what no one will talk about is that there was a point where Amazon's stock value dropped by over 90%. There was a point where Amazon basically went under. And the only reason it survived is the shareholders that did believe in Jeff Bezos and did believe in the internet and e-commerce. Because if you all remember the dot-com bubble, you remember all these people who somehow still have careers in journalism today, they all were against the internet. It's the same people who don't believe in YouTube and TikTok and all this stuff, by the way, and don't believe in Web3 or none of it. But you have to remember, I grew up and was an adult in the time that all this stuff was happening in the dot-com bubble, early user to PayPal. I've had my PayPal account for I've had my Amazon account for 17 years or something. And I've had these things since they were built, basically. I've had these accounts and used these platforms since they were built. I'm one of the only people like that, by the way, because I was an adult when YouTube. I'm 38 this year. I'll be 38 in a couple of months. I was 20 something years old when I was 22, 23 when YouTube was built. I was a grown adult. I could, go and drink. I could buy a drink. I could buy alcohol. I could vote. I could vote and buy alcohol. So what happened was, people don't realize, in the dot-com bubble, one of the things that happened was you had all these people predicting the death of the internet and crowing about how it was a fad and it was just for video games and that would have no real substantial economic impact. And they were crowing about all these people losing money, and they were patting themselves on the back as journalists. The mainstream media was eating up the whole thing, right? They were eating up the whole thing. And what happened was there were people who were true believers and said, no, e-commerce is wonderful. I like buying things online. I support this. And the stock value went down. Well, I believe in the future. I'm going to invest. And there are people who swooped in and they invested. And there were people who were ride or die and say, you know what? In for a penny, in for a pound. I'm not leaving Jeff Bezos. I'm not leaving Amazon. I remember when all y'all did was sell books. I'm down for this everything store. Keep selling stuff and I'll keep buying it. And I'm going to also invest. And so what happened was people invested. And because people invested, the company stayed alive. The employees stayed viable and kept their jobs. The employees' retirements, pensions, and stock options stayed valuable. And so after the initial dot-com bubble, Amazon revived and it improved and it got better. And then we got things like Amazon Prime, and then we got 2-day delivery. And then when Netflix proved the online video model for subscription services and killed off Blockbuster, which everyone was saying would never happen, by the way. Everyone clowned Netflix and thought Netflix was dumb and all this stuff in there. And they destroyed Amazon. I mean, not Amazon. They destroyed Blockbuster.
Yep.
And what did Amazon do? Amazon paid attention and adopted some of Netflix's practices. And they expanded what they were doing. And they also decided to build the AWS services for the cloud to scale Netflix and to benefit from some of Netflix's success. And that proved to be so viable, and their cloud servers so reliable with such a robust user base that the government was like, we need a more reliable cloud architecture. We're going to give you guys some of the money, Amazon, that we used to only give to Microsoft with their cloud Azure platform. And so, why do I know all of this? I worked in web hosting at the time. I knew about servers and DNS and all that stuff back then because I worked in web hosting at the time. So I was a web and graphic designer, and I worked at a web hosting company. So I was there at the ground floor for all this and e-commerce and all of it. Why? Because working at a web hosting company, we had all these people who are building online businesses in the 2000s. We had all of these people who are building online businesses in the 2000s. I remember working for a guy that had this company, and they were like, you could go on the internet if you were somebody who lived in like Florida, because he's a guy based out of Florida, and he built a company, and he and his dad built this company together out of their garage, and they were building boats, and then they grew the business and everything. It was a local thing. They started to scale it online though, to where anybody, not just the people local to them, but anybody in Florida could buy boats from them if they go to the online system, and they'll deliver the boat to your dock slip and everything. And so they started selling the boats through the internet, through e-commerce, and people are like, no one will buy a boat over the internet that they haven't seen in person. It's like, yes, they will. You see what I'm saying? No one believes in any of this crap, right? This is the history of the internet. And so the thing is though, YouTube, I think YouTubers know this history. You know this, Viper. YouTube operated at a loss for years.
Oh yeah.
Didn't make any money. Amazon operated at a loss for years too. Now, for those of you who might be paying taxes for the first time in your life, especially if you're content creators, I'll give you a hint. When you don't make enough money and when you lose money as a self-employed person, you have these expenses, because when you're working for someone else, your employer takes losses and you don't have like losses against, you know, your earnings when you're an employee. But when you're self-employed, you can say, here's all the money I spent out of the money I made. And I might've spent as much or a little bit more than what I made. And also, hey, here are all the people who didn't pay me, and here are all the refunds. And you go to the IRS and they factor all of that in, and they can say, you know what? You don't actually owe any money. You made all this money, but you didn't keep any of it. So since you didn't keep any of it, and you just basically only made enough to keep the doors open to the business, you don't owe anything. And the thing is, if you have another business that's profitable, and that's paying your bills, paying your mortgage, paying your rent, and you're living off of that. Or let's say you used to serve in the military, or you're retired and you get a pension, and you're living off your pension or your other business or your full-time job. But your YouTube business or your e-commerce business isn't profitable, and in fact, you went into a little bit of debt or you spent money, you don't pay taxes on a business that doesn't keep its profits after expenses, net profitability. And this is true for a YouTuber, because YouTubers, and I bring this up, Viper, because remember how I talked about those 5 to 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
Most YouTubers go into the hole for 3 to 5 years and spend money instead of keeping any of it. They lose money on their YouTube channel. They buy laptops, they buy cameras, they buy lights, and they don't make enough money in the first 3 years to make up for the operating cost of their YouTube channel. Do you think they're paying taxes on the money they made on YouTube? No, they're claiming the losses because the YouTube channel isn't net profitable. It's sunk cost. You go into the hole, usually, to be a YouTuber for 3 to 5 years, and then you start recouping your money. But if your losses were big enough, you can carry the losses through on other years. And I'm not an accountant. I learned all this by hiring smart people and by reading books. But like, I have an accountant, and I have bookkeepers and things like that. And I had to do a lot of that paperwork to buy a house as a content creator, because you have more financial scrutiny to buy a house if you're self-employed or a content creator than if you work a 9-to-5 job. They have to verify your income, how you make your money. Were you consistent to make your money? Will you make money next year? They go through all this stuff. They have to they try to really establish whether or not you're still gonna have an income next year if you're self-employed or a content creator, which is really ironic, because it's more likely you will stay. If you're self-employed, it's more likely you will still be viable if you've been viable for at least a couple of years than if you work a 9-to-5 job, because you can always be fired for not a good reason or for things beyond your control. So
ain't that the truth?
YouTubers a lot of times have a loss leader business viper. It might even look like people have a glamorous lifestyle, but a lot of times starting out, or even in the first few years of being successful, they're building what they have cost more up front than the money that they've made the entire time. And so they have to make up for all the years of being in the hole. And sometimes you carry over losses and things like that. And so whether it's a big business, and again, I know no one's sympathetic to a billionaire like Bezos, but I'm making the point that Amazon is a company, just like YouTube is a company, and just like YouTubers is a business. There's years where it's not that profitable, and you get to carry the losses over and claim them. And it makes total sense. But you also have to remember that you take this massive risk to build something, and you could lose. You're taking a risk because you could lose everything. You could invest and it not pay off. You could invest, go into the hole, borrow money, and not be able to pay the money back. And that's scary as hell. And so when people do make it, you need to just be like, hey, you made it, because it's most people won't even try. And most people are not comfortable with that level of risk, which is why most people just get jobs. Because it's it ain't for the faint of heart. It ain't for the faint of heart, homie.
No, it's not. Not at all.
I know YouTubers who've gone $100,000 into debt. I know people who have gone 30 grand into debt to start their channel. 30, 40 grand into the hole to start a YouTube channel. I'm not playing. I'm not joking.
Oh, I believe you. I definitely believe you. It's not. And we try to tell people that that's not the way to do things, but they do it anyway because they feel like they need stuff that they don't need when they're first starting out.
And some people, it worked out for them. And some people, some people I'm talking about that I know that did that was well, great. They're making $150,000, $200,000 a year now. But it's but man, what if they didn't? That's the risk. I wouldn't call it a gamble. They bet on themselves, but boy, it's a good thing it worked out.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So
holding that bag, because by the way, they'd be holding that bag on top of the $60,000 of student loan debt.
oh, Lord, have mercy.
Right.
Uh-huh. So we've been here about 90 minutes. I appreciate y'all hanging out tonight. You, as usual, my man Roberto. I love having a conversation with you because they're always fire, and this one was no different. So thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all being here, man. Had a lot of heavy hitters in the chat tonight. I appreciate all y'all stopping by.
Yeah. We have Renee Ritchie out here. We got James Apple out here. We got Ace out here. We got
we got all kinds. Here earlier.
VidIQ, Podcastage, El Jefe.
Man.
T was here for a minute.
Hey, everybody been here tonight. I appreciate all y'all dropping by.
Elvira, we Mark, we had the whole we was really doing coffee talk after dark out here.
Well, I showed up, man. They know what's up. Man. When Viper and Roberto get together, y'all know it could be fire. So appreciate y'all, but I don't want to hold this man up, so I'm gonna let y'all go tonight. Appreciate y'all being here. I will see you all on Friday night.
We might me and Viper might be doing a stream on Sunday.
Yeah, let's do it, baby. Let's do it. But y'all have a lovely evening. I will catch y'all on Friday night and go out there and enjoy your Wednesday. Peace.